let's try one of these. Looks a little bit different now. Remember, this is one of those with a whole number. I want to subtract 6.40 from that. Remember what we talked about earlier. 12 is a whole number, but to write it as a decimal, what do I have to do? I need to go in, put my decimal here, put my 2 zeros behind it, then write this underneath it where it looks like this. Alright, so I'm going to borrow from this, move this over, I have to borrow again, run that down, and then that turns into 5.60. That's what it looks like when you had a whole number up here to begin with. Now, your turn. Work that out on your paper, pause your video, and then come back and look at it in just a minute. Now, if I do this, what do I have to do? A whole number, I need to do what? Put my decimal behind it and my 2 zeros. Then I'm going to list my 8.25 underneath here and bar across and do this. And I can't see what I've got, so if I do that, and I should have 7.75 for that answer right there. That's my subtraction part. Now, these should be just basic review and very little more than that. You should have had these in 4th grade, perhaps back even in 3rd grade. Not a big deal here. We're going to take just a couple of minutes and look at some multiplication, and then we'll continue this in a later video a little bit more in depth. When we're doing multiplication, a couple of things I usually tell people. Let's go ahead and write up a problem up here. 2.2 times 3.3. Pretty simple, not a big deal, not big numbers, just pretty simple. 2.2, 3.3. My rule of thumb usually is to do this. Before you even begin to worry about decimals, do just take out the decimal and write your problem out like this. Because, as I've said before, if you can't multiply the problem, it's really not going to matter where you place your decimals. So to begin with, remove the decimals, do the multiplication part first. This one is small enough and easy enough. Put my 0 right here. 3 times 2. We need
Miss Dennis.
3
Call
times
the
2.
office. Thank you.
Add this down. So my answer is 726. 726. Now the thing that I've got to deal with next is what to do with my decimals. And this is where students have the most trouble in multiplication with decimals. I'm not sure why. I have yet to be able to figure out why. All we really need to do is to go back and count up number of decimal places in the entire problem. The entire problem. I've got a decimal right here. How many digits do you see behind it? Just the 1. Okay, so I've got 1 decimal place here. Right here is another decimal. I've got 1 digit behind it for 1 more decimal place. So I've got a total of 2 decimal places in this problem. The only thing I need to do is to go to my answer down at the bottom, go to the very back of it, and I need to back up 2 places. And that'll give me an answer of 7.26. 7.26. Not really a difficult concept, but something that some of us just have trouble for some reason getting together and keeping up with. Let's look at another one. Same thing here. I've got 8.3 times 4.4. So let's move over here. And work this problem out. 83 and 44. 4 times 3, of course, is 12. Carry my 1. 4 times 8, 32, plus 1 is 33. So my first line is 332. I'm done with this. Cross it out. Place a 0 here. 4 times 3, 12. 4 times 8, 32. 33 once again. So I'm going to add this down, I guess. 2, 5, 6, and 3. So I get an answer of 3652. I've got to determine now, though, what to do with my decimals. How many decimal places am I going to be dealing with? Well, let's go back over here and look again. Here's my decimal. I've got 1 digit behind it. Here's my decimal. I've got one digit behind it. Total of two places in my entire problem. So I have to start at the very back, come back two places, and it goes right here. 36.52. 36.52 is what you've got here. Alright?